Coming to you live from the top floor of the OBB Corporate Tower in downtown Coral Gables. You're listening to the top-rated American football podcast in countries that don't play American football. Ain't that some shit? These are the Orange Bowl Boys.
Brought to you by Ed Morse. Join the over 2 million people that are backed by Morse. Visit edmorse.com.
Here's Toast, Roman, and Scoop.
Welcome to the Larinaga era, chapter 64.
64 de Larinaga.
Oh my goodness! What a show!
He gets so much props. He doesn't even go to 1. He goes right to 64. You want to know why? Because he's in the big dance, which had like 64 teams, and now he's down to 4. Let's go.
Awesome. I mean, and guys, I mean, if you're watching on the show, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on the live stream, very, very, very special guest today, co-host, and I mean, look, we'll see how it goes. I wouldn't be opposed to this being permanent, but the other guy might have an issue with it, right? Mr. Rudy Fernandez, thank you for joining the program, sir. The Wolf.
Always a pleasure to join you, boys. Wow, this is quite a treat. You know, by the way, I gotta ask a question. right at the top. Is it because I'm sort of, follically challenged here, and I look like the co-host has been suspended, and I have facial hair? I kind of look a little bit like Toast. So when you were looking at the numerous friends of the OB Nation, because you guys could have gone to a lot of ways on this co-hosting thing, I think it's because I'm I could be confused, for Toast that you selected.
You know what? You do resemble him a little bit, but I would say this. If we had a choice, if we really thought about it, I'd go as far away from that as possible. Think about it, right?
Well, I'm
trying to get rid of the guy.
I get that. Listen, it's about roasting Toast. Today.
Hashtag roast toast.
The theme. That's the theme. Hashtag roast toast. I think that's the. I as a co-host, I get an opportunity to be able to help in the naming of the show, right?
Yes,
you can name it all you like.
All right, great. Well, I think that's what we got to do. Listen, I've been, as you know, this last year I was mad with him, a time or two, and obviously I would go to Scoop, Rome, because you're saving lives. Scoop is selling real estate. You're saving lives. I don't want to interrupt your important work, so I would vent. When our friend Toast, who believes that God should have built Earth in a day. Why did it take him 6 days? Why? So he would have been the type of guy that would heckle God, right? When he started getting after, he was the first guy to jump off the Mario bandwagon, right? And that pissed me off. So I think this suspension needs to. You guys need to consider putting him on a probationary period, at least through the football season.
And just for those listeners who don't know, there's a major conflict, and we did not take this decision lightly. We had to come to an agreement. It is a democracy. It's 2/3 vote, but Toast is a lifelong UConn fan. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the University of Miami men's basketball team made it to the Final Four. They're playing UConn, and there's a huge conflict of interest. So cooling and collected and calm heads prevailed, and we suspended his ass.
Yeah, go Canes.
We ain't putting him nowhere near this because we're dogs. Yes. Don't ask me if I'm all right, Toast. You're not all right. You like UConn too much. I can't be around a guy that literally, if something happens, Miami's gonna win. But if God forbid something else happened, I don't want to see that smile. So we can't have it next week either, right?
I was going to say, here's the thing. He might not.
It's got to be at least at least a 2-week suspension. At the very least, a 2-week suspension. Yes. You had to invite. I could hook you up with a ton. There's a ton of great basketball greats. Like one of the fun things, meeting Jack McClinton, who's back in town in South Florida. You had to ask a guy like Jack, who is his name is hanging in the rafters at Watsco. You had to ask a guy like him to co-host. Basketball. Jack next week. I think I'm gonna connect you to Jack.
Nice.
For next week's show.
Is he
win or lose?
Challenge
Win or lose?
Is he follically?
No, he's a good looking dude. No, he's not of the Toast Rudy family. And by the way, he still can shoot the three, boy. He still can shoot the three. So I got to get him to coach my two young boys because he's a hell of a
gave Toast
basketball
a suggestion. It was a while ago. I don't remember. To eat, he was complaining about pancakes, and he likes waffles better than pancakes because pancakes you can only take like 4 or 5 bites, and then they just get boring, or they don't have that same, the pancake soaks up all the what do you call that? The syrup, and it's just not as good. And I told him maybe he shouldn't eat the whole plate, right? Maybe he should just eat 5 or 6 bites and move on from there. What waffles or pancakes for you?
Pancakes. I'm a pancake guy.
Me too.
Yeah. Although listen, I avoid all that stuff because instead of being 250, I could be 375 if I have pancakes too much. So I gotta avoid the carbs.
All right.
Ro, do you have glasses on your head? Are those readers?
Yes.
Oh my God, they're too small for his face. Put them back on.
All right,
they're too small for. Look. He's
but I can't put.
It's like
I
a
can't
huge
put down.
head and tiny glasses.
I'm a big dude, Scoop. You want to know the funny thing?
I have mine too. I'll show you.
My eyes have been great. It's one of the reasons I retired in pro ball as a 300 hitter. I've always had just the most immaculate eyes. I could see everything. We go to Chili's after our boys play baseball, and I see all of them with readers on. And I'm like, look at you guys. Ah, ha, ha. And I swear the cosmic universe just played a prank because the lighting at like Chili's is really bad. Later on in the day, they try to keep it dim lit. They're trying to hide the food that they're trying to sell you. And I literally look down and I can't see.
Can't see anything. Yeah, no.
I can't see anything. So then later that night, I was like, man, I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I can't see. And I got glasses, and it was actually Tony, Scoop, Tony. And Tony has them. And I was like, let me see those. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. You could just, as opposed to embarrassing yourself, you could just increase the text size on the phone.
And I did that a little too.
You know what's scary about that? That when you try to increase the text size on your phone, then you got to go to the special, like there's a limit to what you have to do in the standard, control. And then for people with with disabilities, then there's a different place where you go to get the real big print. I'm there. I am there. I am there as well. So it's listen. Aging is a fact of life. That's why you have to savor the special moments a lot more. This has been a very special basketball season. We got a great group of guys representing the University of Miami here at the Final Four. It's a team that's starting with obviously, Isaiah Wong was the ACC Player of the Year. You got Norchad Omier. How great is he, right? And he's a lion there. He's a guy that plays. He's 6'7", but he plays like he's 6'11", and he has this instinct, and he has the fast twitch muscles to go get the ball. And he has that instinct that reminds you a little bit of Dennis Rodman's ability.
Oh, I was going to say it. You stole him from me.
With the wedding dress or without the wedding dress?
No.
No. I prefer Norchad. Norchad is a great kid, phenomenal kid. He has a winning smile, very charismatic, great story, and he is a force. He is you could see that he is the heart of the team. And obviously Isaiah, Jordan Miller, who played a perfect game that, for those of us that are old guys like us, you remember Christian Laettner against Kentucky in that Elite Eight game. It was reminiscent of Christian Laettner, and Jordan Miller.
The only other time that it's ever been done.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So it was fantastic. Poplar is his.
Wooga.
A freak athlete. Tremendous athlete. Bensley Joseph, Beverly. They have and obviously Nigel Pack, who can shoot it. Like my kids from time to time, will work out in the indoor practice facility, and Nigel. We see Nigel Pack practice. He makes it consistently from center court. Like he'll do, he'll practice that shot from the logo, and he makes that consistently. I mean, this is a fun team, and I think the challenge for UConn is going to be, there's a lot you got to worry about all 5 guys on the court scoring.
And what's interesting, and you've been on your social media account and you've been incredibly active, and I love the hashtag Don't Pick Us. And it's almost laughable. I still don't want the consensus media to pick us, because obviously we've done well when they've picked against us. They gave us a 10% chance against Houston. They gave us a 10% chance against Texas. Essentially, we have no shot against UConn. But then you look at this team, and this is what I found ironic. Other than that Duke team, in the ACC, no team has gotten to the Final Four from the ACC beating higher seeds. So when you take the conglomerate score, right, I think our number was 21, right? Because you play this seed. To get to the Final Four, we have the lowest number, which is actually a good thing. We've beaten more higher seeds than anyway. We have a better record than UConn. We actually have a better record. They have more losses than we have losses. Meanwhile, University of Miami still, I don't believe, are getting the love that they deserve. This is a very talented team, like you said, Rudy. This is a team that on different nights it could be from somebody else. It was Jordan Miller's game, and I got to give credit to our boy Matty Ice. He's like, this is a Jordan Miller game. The way that Texas is playing this is going to be a Jordan Miller game. And sure enough, he was right. It was a Jordan Miller game. I don't think that they're getting the credit that they deserve. I think this is a very good team, and we're in the Final Four. And as crazy as that is to hear as a Miami fan, kudos.
Here's the reality, and I get that, but you look at a couple bad losses for the Canes throughout the season, and I'll go back and I'll admit I was the one who put that tweet out to say that FSU loss was meaningless. It was meaningless, and this is why it was meaningless, because it didn't matter. All you had to do was go and win the rest of your games, no matter your seed. Makes no difference. I was 100% correct on that, and everybody else that came at me was 100% incorrect. I just want to put that out there. Secondly, the difference is what they are seeing UConn do throughout the tournament, yes, right? Which is dominate everybody they're playing, right? They just beat Zags by almost 30. I think they beat them by 28, and the game wasn't even close. The Canes have had very close games, have had to come back from double-digit deficits twice. So that's what you're seeing, right? You're seeing, see, I told you. Yeah, but they had to come back. See, I told you. And then you have the other side where UConn's dominating everybody. So obviously all the pundits and all the talking heads, they're going to pick UConn. It's 5.5 point spread. It is what it is, but that's great. That's what these dudes have thrived off of. This team, this coach, this coaching staff has thrived off the fact that they've been the dogs every time out. And they love it. They love the fact, as you said, hashtag don't pick us. They love that. They thrive on it. And they got a good chance to do it again on Saturday. I'm stoked, man. I can't wait.
I want to say something, and I want to turn it over to Rudy. Because I want to segue. This was something I knew when we were doing the show. I wanted to ask you, and I specifically wanted to get your take. But do you know why Miami's in the Final Four? Do you know why? It's not because Jim Larrañaga is a Hall of Fame coach, right? And I know as much flack as he got, and from us too, but that FBI investigation kind of derailed a little bit. It was frivolous. Anyway, but we're only here because of NIL. Only here. And you know what? It seems like other pundits and other coaches have taken some shots. I don't think that's the whole picture. I think it's part of the picture. But I've seen so many other teams and super teams that just don't perform well, right? We have seen the gift of Eric Spoelstra wasn't necessarily that he took the big three and won championships. It's because he was able to take those three individuals, get them on the same court, and win championships. I don't think it is, and that's my question to you, Rudy. I was like, the percentage. How much of it is NIL? How much are we willing to admit? Or how much of it is it, hey, just tip your cap and move on. Larrañaga and this team's a great team.
Look, guys, I just turned 50 in February. As we speak of needing glasses and aging. If I live to be 85, in my heart of hearts, what I love doing is I'm a student of leadership. I like to say I'm a practitioner, or I like to think that I'm a practitioner of leadership as well, but I'm a student of leadership. And Jim Larrañaga is a phenomenal leader. All right, he is. I've been in the locker room, each home game this season, and he is resilient. The way he messages and keeps the young men on the team focused on the end goals, and how disciplined he is, the type of kids he recruits. He's a fantastic coach. The fact that the two Final Four teams, the one at George Mason and who was an 11th seed, and Miami as a 5 seed whose brackets stayed intact. That Midwest bracket stayed intact. So we had to beat Drake, survive Drake, who everybody was picking to upset us. That was a popular upset pick in the first round, and then beat Indiana, the 4 seed, beat Houston, the 1, and beat Texas, the 2. That as a 5 seed, that speaks to the fact that the guy is a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal leader of men and a phenomenal teacher and role model. Now, part of being a phenomenal leader is that you adjust to the times. And guess what? Yes, NIL is a fact of life, and it's long overdue. Student athletes should be able to, as Jim said, because he's a phenomenal communicator. After the win over Texas, he said he was asked about NIL, and he said, "Look, universities make money, coaches make money. Certainly, the networks that are putting all this games on TV are making money. Adidas is making money. Yeah, some of that should trickle down. It's only fair. We've navigated that really, really well, because you have a great leader like Jim Larrañaga. That it hasn't affected the team chemistry. There's another team, and I'm not going to call out schools. Oh, but they didn't make the tournament this year, and they were in the finals last year. That had team chemistry issues. With essentially the same roster, right? So and every major program, has players under NIL contracts. No, this is largely due to his ability to mentor, recruit, and coach. He's a fantastic coach, and he will be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's just a matter of time.
For sure. Taking 2 teams, including that George Mason, like you said, it was 11th, and now taking a Miami squad to the Final Four. That's kudos in itself. The one thing that I do know, because we mentioned the ACC, lost in all of this because it's don't pick us. And ACC has played some really phenomenal basketball. It's been a flagship conference for basketball, the Duke, the UNC battles over the year. I know Wake's had some good teams, Timmy D teams and stuff like that, Chris Paul. We are not ACC in this right now. It's good for the ACC. I don't want to put you in a precarious spot, but there was a Florida State fan who said, "Yeah, I kind of want Miami to lose," and I'm like, I'm kind of glad that you want us to lose, and you're not playing that SEC thing, that Alabama in football, because I think it's the most neurotic, crazy thing when I see SEC fans parade the SEC. We're Miami fans first, who happen to be ACC. Not only do we want you to not pick us, we're okay with the whole rest of the ACC rooting against us. That's just how we are. That's just how we are. I just find it as an interesting niche how we're not like really parading our ACC colors right now.
Listen, it's always been what I love about the "Don't Pick Us" hashtag and the video. The video was phenomenal, and credit goes to the team in athletics for producing it. The Players Tribune, who was involved in pushing it out. But what I love about it is that it is the new version of it's us against the world mentality that dominated, UM's brand in the 80s and 90s, right? And at the end of the day, I've thought long and hard about this, and I've discussed it with President Frank and other folks. The reason that Miami in the 80s, that we took on that mentality is because we were the young upstarts, fighting the Oklahomas and the Notre Dames and the Nebraskas, right? And the Alabamas. And in life, okay, whether it's in sports or in real life, if you want to get to the mountaintop, you got to fight for every inch. That's the way the world works, right? And no one's going to hand anything to you. And the established powers, the blue bloods, get upset when, they don't want to give up their turf. They don't want to give up their turf. That's the history of the city of Miami, by the way, because, we're a fairly young city. We're not even, the city of Miami is 120 years old or so. The University of Miami is 98 years old, compared to Boston and Chicago and those ingrained, and New York, those ingrained cities. Yeah, we're upstarts. And sometimes the old money and the old establishment hates to sort of cede ground to a new city, but we're coming to take it. We're coming to take it.
Speaking of which, and I love the basketball talk, and I believe we're going to get back to it, but the don't pick us. Do you think there's any opportunity for us to flip that to the football side of things at some point? Right? You want to do that? You want to go down to Green Tree and talk a little football?
I'm happy to talk basketball, talk football, anything you want.
Line 72. All right, hey,
go! Here we are. So, spring is upon us. I know, spring ball is upon us.
Halfway through.
They're halfway through. I love the fact that the spring game is going to be a night game, by the way. So fantastic venue. Football team, here we go. The thing I do see in the videos of the kids right now and talking to some of the players, there's some genuine excitement over this offense. There's some smiles. I liked Cohen the other day. He was like, yeah, this is a fun offense. And I'm glad, because to parallel to basketball, right? To parallel the basketball, you see the genuine smiles on these kids' faces. And you also know, right? You also know that when they're playing, it's a fun brand of basketball, right? It's a fun brand of basketball as well. So when you can translate that and you can necessarily go to the football side of things, right? And these guys actually believe that they can have fun in the offense, that it's going to be exciting. I think that's going to go ahead and just infest is the wrong word, but it's going to infect everybody in a positive way. It's going to go ahead and trickle up to the top. So I'm happy to see the early reports that these kids enjoy the offense.
You see the videos, most of the highlight videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the ball?
Deep
downfield, right? All that's it. You got Burchard, you got Jacoby, you got all these dudes, Colby catching the ball downfield. I have heard, and I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again. I was told again by somebody totally different. Colby Young, you thought he was good last year. We're like, oh my God, he's on the scene, right? And he's going to be that guy. He's going to be the number one. From all accounts, and more than all accounts, he has taken such an enormous leap from what you saw from him last year that I stand by what I said last week. He's going to break the single season receiving yardage record this year. 100%.
Now, real quick, when you said that, and I made a comment, there is such going deep, right, for University of Miami kids, like throwing the ball deep, having that part of your offense. I can't tell you, it is a cultural thing. All you have to do is go to a South Florida high school game, and I heard it when you saw Burchard. I think it was it Kobe went deep, yep, or Burchard? So they go deep, and you hear, yee! It's that sound. They do it everywhere. It is like the ultimate showmanship. It is so intrinsic Miami. You have to have an offense that resonates to the core of these kids. And I'm just telling you, any casual fan who knows what I'm talking about, if you just go to a South Florida like flag event, and those guys will sling it all day long. It's like the 3-ball for basketball. You have to go deep. And when you do, and these kids connect, it is the most infectious thing for them. They smile, they have fun. And I think that's translating. Rudy, who you got? Who you got down there?
Listen, I am excited about year two. I'll tell you, I am more bullish on Mario Cristobal than when I signed the contract, in December of, I guess it was 2021. Because I've seen his work ethic. I've seen how he brings it every day. I've seen his willingness to say, okay, this quite didn't work out the way we wanted to. We're going to go in a different direction. He's made changes, and he didn't wait 3 or 4 years just because he picked, someone, to lead a certain unit, on the side of the ball that Rome played football in. He made changes, right? And And that tells me that speaks to his leadership ability. I am one in my day job, helping lead the University of Miami. I make mistakes every day. And what I take pride in is the fact that I admit it and I'll own up the mistake and I'll correct it. It's not making mistakes is part of leadership. It comes with the job. But you have to sort of course correct as soon as you've realized that, right? And I think Mario is highly intelligent. The recruiting class was phenomenal. And when you see some of these guys up close, the offensive line is going to look and feel and play very different because they're beginning to recruit their guys. So you got to give it time to work. Larinaga did not, to come back to basketball because it's at the forefront of my mind this week. Larinaga didn't build that program overnight, right? But now he's recruited his guys, and if you give it time, I am confident we're going to get to a very special place in football.
I don't disagree with that one iota. I've wanted Mario here for 10 years. I believe he can do the job. I believe he will do the job. And I've said this many times on the show. I believe last year was a tryout for him, right? It was a tryout to see who could handle his type of leadership, coaching, work ethic, establishment, the entire thing. And now we're in year 2. But I want to get your take on something that, we've brought up, which is in the world that we live in for NIL, you no longer need, per se, your 3 and 4 years of full recruiting cycles for you to be able to establish the fact that this team is now all your guys, because you can go out and you can fill holes, you could fill spots that are needed through the portal. And I think he did that very well his first year, and I think he did it even better this second year. So realistically, with the tryout and the gentleman who didn't want to play in this system or whatever the situation is, the 20 that left, that moved on, and good luck to all of them. And then the second full class at NIL, we kind of said, this is his team now. This is his team. He's got everybody he wants through 2 years. What's your take on that?
You got to give him a couple more years. You got to give him a couple more years to. But he would tell you that he needs to stack a couple more classes, and I agree with that. And the university is going to be very, very patient. We believe that we have the right guy. I know that we have the right guy, and I think, but I do think what I'm looking to see is progress. What every other fan, and I'm saying now, when I tell you what I'm looking to see is progress, I'm Rudy Fernandez, the fan, right, not the administrator, because at the end of the day, I am just a fan like the two of you. But I think we will. I think we will see progress, and I remain very bullish.
I just like the moves that he is making, the style direction at the offense. Like you said, willing to admit being a leader is making mistakes, but to take the self-reflection on it, to take ownership of it is huge. I think that's a trait that more people need to possess. I don't think it's something that just comes easy for everybody, especially in my line of work. A lot of times when a mistake is made, I think there's the willingness to pass the buck. You didn't see that with Mario. He owned it up to it. And I think he was keen enough to know, okay, on the offensive side of the ball, I think that UNC game, Rudy and Scoop, I think that UNC game was an eye-opener. I really do, and I keep getting back to it because the style of offense, putting up that many points, could have potentially won that game, right? I didn't feel like it was an offense. It looked different than any other iteration of the offense. And then you turn around and you add Guidry, and I love that style of defense. I really am a big fan of that defense. I know I get a little bit of a pedigree being an offensive side of the guy, but I just take it from the other side. I'm like, as a quarterback playing again, everybody's standing up at the line of scrimmage. Sit back down. I want to see what I'm doing here. Put your arms down. I think he made 2 really good quality coordinator hires. And for me, and this is where I'll leave it, for me, I always said with Mario Cristobal, I believe in the guy. I believe in the recruiter. I believe in him. I believe in his leadership style. I love what he brings to the table. I love that he's an alumni. I love all of that. I said, for me, it's always going to come down to his coordinators. It's going to be his coordinators. He's got to be the CEO. And like, Rudy, you understand this too. You're only as good as your team, right? You could be the best administrator in the world, and we believe Mario is as well, and when those mistakes, but it's always going to come down to who's calling the X's and O over there and who's calling the X's and O over there. And my personal opinion, I think he got really two good hires. Really good.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Particularly the role of the leader, of the head man, the CEO, is to hire great people. That's in my line of work and helping, being a senior leader in the administration at the university. What I never rush is the decision making on the front end when you're hiring, and when you're making an important hire, you gotta try to get as many of those right, because then your success as an organization hinges on those hires, and I think that certainly holds true for what Mario's trying to do.
Agreed.
Talking about Guidry, by the way, I've had a couple of people tell me that they're taking it to the offense a little bit. So
and I don't disagree.
That makes me happy.
And I don't disagree on the like really specific side of things. That is, I want to tell people the last radically different looking thing that I felt like kind of just stood out in a field of daisies. And then there was just this massive palm tree, right? Was Paul Johnson's offense. Like, you were in the ACC, best. And next everybody plays a brand of offense, and then next thing you know, Paul Johnson played the triple option. And you're like, what the hell is this? I haven't seen something that drastically different until then, because Guidry, the way that he puts his defensive linemen, they're standing at the line of scrimmage constantly. They're extremely disruptive. He's playing the pass and route to the run, which is, hey, everybody's passing these days. I was like, man, this is going to work. This is cool. I like this. So the fact that, they're bringing, and by the way, it should be this way, right? It should always, the defense should always dominate early. The offense takes time. It's more rhythmic. There's more parts to it, right? There's definitely more parts. So I'm glad to hear that, Scoop, because I think you're going to see that in a spring game. I think you're going to see a spring game where Guidry's defense is going to go ahead and shut those boys down. So challenge to you, Tyler.
Did you guys see Pro Day was a couple days ago, right? I believe it went rather well. And I believe our boy, Mr. Mallory, is making himself a ton of cash.
Yeah.
Did you see that catch over the shoulder?
Yeah, fantastic.
Route to the pylon?
I agree. It was amazing. He's a fantastic kid. Good. It's always good to, part of being in education, you get to know the kids, and you want good things happening to good people. Will is a great kid and a smart kid. I hope he does really well. So and as I am for all the other Canes participating in Pro Day. Now I'm blanking on the cornerback's name, but
Tyreek.
Yeah, Tyreek.
Did he perform at Pro Day?
No, but Stevens is projected to be a high, second rounder.
I know Ivy ran.
Right.
Yeah, Will did not run. I mean, look, when you're the fastest tight end at the combine, there's no reason to run at the Pro Day.
No, correct.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Smart move, right?
Smart move. It's very smart. Just go catch. But I saw him run that corner route, and I thought, holy crap, when did he get so fast?
You want as many of those guys to get drafted as possible because they deserve it. They put in the time, and I want what's best for them and their families, but I also want what's best for our program. And one of the things, the ultimate NIL deal is an NFL deal, and we got to get back to, and it's going to take time because you got to, if you get the right guys in the door, you mentor them, you teach them, they grow, they develop, and then they get drafted. But that's how you build the machine that Alabama has built, right? They are, in the world of NIL, the community in Alabama has to do less because the kids say, well, if I go there, I'm in a couple of years I'll be in the NFL and the league, and that's what the kids have this. That's their dream, and if you can be a road or a bridge to that dream, then you're gonna have a successful program. That's what Mario's trying to build.
I will just interject on that. I agree wholeheartedly. I just think one of the things, if we could get an ambassador, I think a position group in particular that would fast track that is wide receiver. Because I think, like, again, there's this cultural phenomenon to Miami and playmakers, right? We love our Ray Lewises. We loved our Warren Saps. We loved our Dan Morgans. But something about the playmaker, Michael Irvin, and what Reggie Wayne, I would love to see us just put a wide receiver into the league that is special. Like, just nail one of those guys. And we make a plethora of them down here in South Florida. If we can get one of those guys, we can get that on the offensive side of the ball. We can have that poster child on that position. I think it fast tracks a lot more, right? Because you want to get the kids. And I love what you said, Rudy. It's 100% true. The ultimate NIL deal is the NFL deal, right? And now if you have 5 NFL caliber guys and you gave me various positions, I'd say, hey, the biggest one, can it please be wide receiver? Then like quarterback. And then let's get the defensive side of the ball last and an offensive lineman.
I'm not going to argue that because you know football better than I do, Rome. But I agree with that. I want to make one other observation because as I watch the success of our basketball program this year, I've been thinking a lot about the fact that it's important to recruit not just physically talented and gifted athletes to your program, but kids that have the right temperament and mental toughness. And mental toughness is something that the coach Larinaga, working with this team, has built over time. But the resiliency that the basketball team has shown in playing close games throughout the ACC schedule and in the tournament and coming back, being, in the hotel here where the team is staying in Houston, they have in one of the channels the game against Houston and the game against Texas in a loop. So I rewatched the game against Texas yesterday. We were down 12 with like 9 minutes left, right? And those kids, their mental toughness is probably their most impressive. I'm blown away by their mental toughness, that resiliency. And if you look at football, this is where I want to sort of go back to the football conversation. Over the last 20 years, and it's no person, I mean, we've had several coaches, so you can't put it on any particular coach. It's not personal, or any particular player. But, we've seen games over the last 20 years where, the minute that our team got down 10, it was done. We were run out of the stadium. We gotta recruit the right kids and give it time. Not switch coordinators every year. If you, and I'm confident now that we have the right 2 guys, and build mental toughness, because that's what the Canes of old. That was probably their most defining characteristic, the mental toughness of the team.
Isaiah Wong said it. He just thanked the ACC, which I thought was a class move. We play a lot of tight games in ACC. It's a good basketball conference, and it's prepared us to do this. And I've always said, Rudy, like the greatest teams on the planet, you got to beat them twice. And I think you're alluding to the first part. The obvious one is you got to beat them on the scoreboard. But it's like the greatest teams in the world, you got to beat their will to win first to beat them on the scoreboard, because they just don't. The greatest teams, like, they refuse to lose. It is like they're unbreakable. So the Miami teams definitely need to do this. Now, I want to ask you, because this is definitely something you could put your administrative hat on for it to answer this question. In terms of basketball, athletic success, it kind of parlays into the academic side. Have we seen like an uptick of people wanting to consider to enroll to Miami now that we're a basketball school these days? What's up?
So we have a record number of applications for the second or third year in a row. We had over 50,000 applications again for what ends up being 2,200 spots in the freshman class. Now, you accept more than 2,200 because there's some people that apply to various schools and don't choose us when we accept them. But it's a record number of applications. I think where everybody, this has been a topic of conversation the last couple of weeks, where everybody says, hey, expect the Final Four bump is over the next 12 months, right? So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. We had 49,000 applications a year ago, almost 51,000 this year. It'll be interesting to see where we are a year from now.
That's crazy. What are, just because I'm curious about this, I don't know if you know this or can answer this, but what are kind of like what's the barometer for scores GPAs, all that stuff to say, if you're under this, you have no chance.
It is crazy. The average SAT of the first year student that are on campus right now, the ones that started in August, is above 1,400. Okay, 1,400 would have gotten you into any Ivy League school in the country. All right, less than 1,400. I didn't have a 1,400, and I went to Harvard.
I don't think they would have let me mow the lawn.
Right. Yeah. No, that
I can hit a baseball far and throw a football far.
Unbelievable.
Some of the toughest conversations that we have is that obviously, part of my job is dealing with the alumni base and the donors to the university, and a lot of them are UM lifers, right? And their parents and grandparents went to UM, and now their daughter or son is having difficulty getting in. And I'm like, well, guess what? Yeah, your daughter's she's got better scores than you. You're right. But guess what? You would, you probably would have gotten into UM today. It's become very, very, very competitive, and it's great.
Isn't 1,600 perfect?
Yes.
1,600 is perfect.
That's
bananas, you get like 400 for signing your name.
You do. I got just over that on the English part.
410.
Yeah. Listen, this is not. This is a very competitive school. This is a very competitive school.
And you mentioned 1,400 in Ivy League schools, but back in the day when there was like the dichotomy and they split and they didn't really like the athletic kind of stigma, because obviously we were winning championships or we were about to, but they wanted it to be the Ivy League of the South. But I just find it fascinating that as the academics get tied in, as the athletics continue to rise. Now, watch the football team get to where they need to go, like the equivalency of their Final Four and beyond. And then it does it by default. It's like, because so many people are attracted to the school because of the publicity, it's in the limelight, right? And you see the leadership of guys like Cristobal and Larinaga, and then they can relate to that. And then they see the campus. And then you just rise the talent pool, right? You get these phenomenal SAT scores, and you become the Ivy League of the South. I love it.
Look, this is a very special time in South Florida history. South Florida is the hottest part of the country, and I don't mean just in terms of the weather. It's hot in terms of, like, it's very desirable. People are flocking from New York, Chicago, California to come here. I'll tell you a funny story that my wife will probably give me crap about sharing this story with you guys, but you guys are family, and it's always the whole Orange Bowl nation.
Oh,
so
she's not going to get too mad.
So we're in Kansas City at the Elite Eight game, right, playing Texas, and we were down for 30 of the 40 minutes in the game, right, and in the section right next to me, but within earshot, there's a couple of college fans from Texas, giving a really hard time to a Miami fan that's within their same section. The Miami fan was very loud and supporting Miami, cheering for Miami, and it was 80% of the fans were Texas fans, and they were giving the Miami fan, this particular college, because we were giving the Miami fan crap, right? And one of the things that they were yelling is like, Miami, go home, Miami, like 30 minutes into the game, and the third or fourth time, I hate people. One of my pet peeves, and Rome, I suspect you're the same way. I get along with everybody and I'm patient, but if I see someone being picked on, I tend to jump in and defend, right? And after the third or fourth time, and I also took it as an insult, not just about the Miami Hurricanes. They were insulting our community. Go home, Miamians, right? And I turn around and I yell to the Texans guy, listen, when we're done with you, we'll be happy to go home because we live in paradise, right? And everybody around me was like, "Oh, calm down, Rudy. What are you getting? Why are you getting into a yelling match with a fan, etc.?" Right? And I just said that, and then I kept cool. And my wife was, saying, "Do you want to switch seats, etc." Jennifer was really worried that I was going to get into an altercation, right? But seriously, Miami is a very desirable. It's a very desirable city and a place to live, and I think, and the university is benefiting from that as well, right? Like
hey,
President Frank likes to say that this is part of our geographic endowment. The fact that we're here in South Florida is part of our, part of our secret sauce.
Well said, geographic endowment. I love it. Similar to your story, we got, of course, I travel up to Chicago to watch Miami play South Bend. We lost 41-3. Notre Dame made it, lost to Alabama in the championship game that year, and we got waxed. Now, of course, I'm walking out, and the same thing. They're like, "Go home, Miami fans." I'm like, "Yeah, I am gonna go home, and I'm gonna jump in my pool." Because it's freezing. I got a jacket. His buddy looks at him and looks at me and looks at him. He goes, "Yeah, man, that was pretty dumb to say." Even his own buddy. And it's still to this day, it was the worst comeback from a Notre Dame, from any fan, was when a Notre Dame fan told me, I was like, "You're going to go back and tip a cow. That's what you're going to do. You're going to go there like, I'm going to go back and swim." That's the worst thing you could ever say. Go back to Miami. We love where we're from. We do live in paradise. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
all right. So I think it's time.
Anything else at Green Tree? Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to go back to the most important decision that we have to make. I have to help you make as your co-host for the day, and is the length of Toast suspension. We got to revisit this important topic. Don't think I've forgotten about our friend Toast.
No. But before we do that, let's talk. We do have to talk about our friends, right? We do have to do, guys. Don't forget. Sports Podcast Awards. If you haven't gone, sportspodcastawards.com. The suspended guy put us in 3 categories. I don't know why. One of them is best sports talk podcast. One of them is best sports comedy podcast. And one of them is best football podcast. And we're up against some monsters. First of all, we made the finals in all 3. I don't know how we made the finals in any of them, but we made the finals in all 3 of them. So go to sportspodcastawards.com. Give us a vote. We finished 2nd last year. We'll probably finish 9th this year, but it's okay. It's okay. We're up against Cowherd, and we're up against, I think, Kenny Mayne or some people we shouldn't be up against. But anyway, it's fun nonetheless.
We got them.
It's fun.
We got them. Don't pick us. Don't pick us.
Unless you get a website. Hashtag don't
unless
pick,
you get a
don't
website.
Pick us.
Don't pick us.
Don't pick us.
But
Friends.
Ed Morse. EdMorse.com, the boys and the women and the ladies and the men have been supporting us since the very, very, very beginning of all this. New and pre-owned, Cadillac, Ford, GMC. And now we've mentioned this before. Teddy went up and bought the Harley Davidson in Daytona, the mothership. And it's his name on the sign, Teddy Morse's Harley Davidson. If you want 2 wheels, if you want 4 wheels, they have you covered. They've got the price protection promise, the best service around. If you go in to buy something in person, you might see Teddy. He's everywhere. He's like 10 of them, and he's all over the country all the time. Get backed by Morse. OBB's backed by Morse for the last 5 years. EdMorse.com.
And then use that promo code that you know so well, Club OBB, and head over to Manscaped. Listen, we're coming into the summer months, boys. We know what happens to the boys in the summer months. So check out their product. They got a lot of it. They got, they got
lawnmowers,
crop preserver, lawnmowers, weed whackers. They got it all. They got it all.
Through nose, eyebrows,
phenomenal company,
beards.
Eyebrows, everything. It's a different era, boys. It's a different era. We're not in the 70s. It's not shag carpets anymore. It's more tile and clean. So
I saw, speaking of which, I saw a listing out in Palm Springs the other day. Somebody posted, and it was the most immaculate, gorgeous green room I'd ever seen in my entire life. The shag was like this deep, and it hadn't been stepped on in 47 years. It was incredible. Now, for Manscaped, you go in there, you just mow it right up, right?
Yeah.
Probably not green, but you just mow it right up. Look, and after you're done with that and you want to make some money to pay yourself back for the products you just bought on Manscaped, OBB, by the way, 20% off. Did we mention that? 20% off Manscaped. Hashtag. No, not hashtag. What's it called? Promo code OBB. I'm not used to doing these things. Where is that guy? Get him back here so he can do some of these things.
Well, I got an idea of this.
Okay. But we have Beaten the Bookie, our boy who absolutely raked it. He raked the bookies over the coals last week for basketball, for the tournament, just like disgusting. Like I think he won every play he played last week. But golf, Valero Open starts today. You got the Final Four. Baseball season starting right up. Killed it last year in baseball season. And hockey, he's been, 20-4 over the last 24, 25 games. Incredible. Incredible. Beating the Bookie at beatingthebookie.com. Get all your plays there. And when you make your money and you win, you go, where do you go? You go to DraftKings.
DraftKings.
You go to DraftKings. The Final Four. Do you know what the lines are for the Final Four?
No.
FAU versus San Diego State. I can't believe this is true. FAU, San Diego State. FAU, I don't know. Are they favorites? I think they're 1.5 point favorites. No, they're dogs.
No, they're not.
No, they're dogs by 1.5 now. San Diego State, they got no chance against the East Coast of Florida. And then UM and UConn, -5.5. We talked about that, -5.5. But look, you take your money, you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and sign up with code TPPN. Tango Papa November, for those who fly airplanes out there.
Good job.
Right? I know that alphabet. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose. Only a DraftKings Sportsbook with code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See. Show notes for details.
And admit it. So I got an idea. We always do 5 questions. We're going to do 6. The 6th and final question, because it's not going to be the 5th, is how long is toe suspension? So we're doing 5 questions.
Bring it back.
All right.
Bring it back.
Let's do it.
All right. 5 questions. Let's go, boys.
5
questions.
I got questions, right?
I have a couple too. But yes, go. I have some PG. I think I have PG questions. So if you have non-PG questions, because
there's no sense to these questions. It's not like we come in with a pre-approved list. We just look and we get them on the fly. But I like this opening question. What are some of your favorite movie or TV show quotes? What are your favorite movie quotes? Let's go. This is good. He can be here all day. I'm going to go first because I say it daily. I say 2 things daily. I might say like 6 daily.
I know one. I know the first one you're going to say. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Talk to me, Goose.
Talk to me, Goose is number 1 by far. I must say that 10 times a day. Mm-hmm. And we need to get Danny Ramirez back in here so we can go ahead and do that. And if you say C, say C. Say C to me. CC, Pedro.
Yeah.
Those 2 are habitual. You say that to me. If Scoop calls me, Rudy calls me, talk to me, Goose. Like immediately. And if somebody says C, it's CC Pedro. And how's your burger is a good one too.
How's your burger? How's your burger?
Why don't you eat up and I'll tell you?
This is a really tough one for me because I'm a huge movie person, and I am like my immediate staff will tell you that I'm constantly using movie analogies and movie references. And if they don't know the movie, I'll go to on YouTube and
show it
and pull the clip. One of my favorite movies is The Departed. You know that scene when I think it's Mark Wahlberg's character is talking to the police officers and he's saying, "Listen, you know what how I treat you know what my strategy in dealing with the feds is. You treat them like mushrooms. You keep them in the dark and feed them crap, feed them shit, right? That's one of my favorite movie lines of all time, right? Now I don't use it. I don't use it in dealing. My job doesn't require me to do. I have great respect for law enforcement, but I use it more about, so and so is asking a question. It's like, who the hell are they? They are in a need to know basis, and they don't need to know. Treat them like a mushroom.
Treat them like a mushroom. Oh my God! I'm gonna use that.
And listen, and I'm putting 2 and 2 together. After he told the guy I'm going to go enjoy my Miami weather, he's like, I'm going to treat you like a mushroom, buddy, and feed you shit. That's what he told the Houston fan. No, he didn't say that either.
I was thinking of one that I saw. Yeah, one that I saw this morning, actually, which is the wolf shows up at the door, knocks on the door, and he says, "Yeah, I'm the wolf. I fix problems."
That was a good movie.
The good one, right?
It's a great movie. I also like the Godfather. I'm a huge fan of the Godfather and the.
My last name's Marcianti.
I made him an offer that he couldn't refuse. I mean, that's a fantastic.
Yeah, Mario Cristobal. Yeah, Mario Cristobal. We know.
I've never seen that.
So,
you've never seen it?
No.
Hold on a second. Stop.
Communist. Get out of here.
He's never seen The Godfather? No, I don't believe
Get out of here. Get out of here.
It's true.
You've seen the.
I haven't. The one. The one that I've seen more than anything is Casino. I've seen that. And I'm seeing Goodfellas.
You haven't seen a Godfather. There's 3 Godfathers. You don't really.
I haven't seen any.
1 and 2 are classic. You need to watch 1 and 2. And this is sad. We're gonna have to enact another. So there's 7 questions because now we got to decide how long you're suspended, just simply for not watching The Godfather. All right, number 2. I just think this is funny. What's the biggest mammal you think you can knock out in one punch?
Oh man.
Oof. Oof.
Mammal?
What is the biggest mammal you can think?
We're mammals, right? Humans are mammals.
Yeah, humans are mammals too. Oh, we don't want to condone violence. We don't condone violence against any animals. We do this as a
comedic. It's a comedic gesture. That's all it is.
A comedic gesture. Let's see. Mammal.
Rudy, do you know one?
I'm trying. I'm not.
You know what I thought Rudy was gonna say?
Pass. I'm gonna pass.
He's gonna pass. I thought he was gonna say that Texas fan at the game.
No. Listen. I can't condone. I'm still an officer of the University of Miami. I can't condone violence.
He just told him.
Look at you. You're telling him stuff. You're asking questions he can't even answer. For God's sake.
All right, we'll do another question.
I got one. Go
ahead. Talk to me.
What's your ultimate feel-good song?
One shining moment. One shining moment.
That's so good. That is so good. We definitely cannot top that.
Seriously, we play the video. My boys, who I told you are obsessed with basketball. We've seen the videos. If you go on YouTube, you could see the videos. I think they started that tradition of the video at the end of the tournament in 2001, and the editing has gotten better, and they produce it really well. But we've seen each of the videos a dozen times. So we play that in the car, the song. We see the videos at home, and needless to say, that's what I was listening to as I was boarding the plane yesterday.
All right.
Do you have one?
For me, it's REO Speedwagons More Than a Feeling.
Oh,
and it's just because it's just my feel good song because it takes me back. You got to go a long way. And if you were at Fort Lauderdale, you remember there was a place called Castle Park, right? It was off 84 before 595.
That's right. 84 lumber.
Yeah. Right. So, I just remember my dad taking me there, and it was the first time, and it had like batting cages and video games and like bumper cars, and that was playing in the background. More than a feeling, and it literally takes me back to my childhood.
It's
every single time I hear it.
It's such a good song.
Every single time I hear it. So More Than a Feeling, REO Speedwagon. Yes.
Yeah, I would say, if we're gonna stay in like that genre, which I think you kind of do stay in that genre, really anything by Boston.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. You could, because that is a top down, windows down, pop off, whatever you're driving, and you can open up. You put that disc in back in the day, or the cassette back in the day. I remember when I was in high school, my dad bought an old CJ7, 2 doors, black on like 40s probably. And I had this CD, this cassette tape I'd throw in there, and Boston just ran wild on that thing, man. It was, anything from that album, just incredible.
And I said More Than a Feeling by REO Speedwagon.
I know.
More Than a Feeling by Boston.
I know. That's why I brought it up.
All right. I know. That's exactly why we're doing it. Thanks, because sometimes I get this.
You're welcome. I didn't want to correct you when you said it. I just want to bring it up afterwards and kind of do it subtly.
Question 3. And you're going to have, I guess my daughter's the eldest of your kids, Rudy and Scoop. So eventually they're going to date. So not necessarily to us. We're out of the dating game. But what are some great questions to ask on a date?
I'm not sure I can say these.
Yes, you can.
I don't think so.
So, yeah, what are some questions to ask on a date?
I'd love to say some stuff. Rudy's on the show.
I can go first. Hey, so who did you vote for last election?
No, you can't say that. We already got in trouble. We already got in trouble. There's some
so
guy.
We're not going politics.
Look, there's some guy on our Instagram account that anytime I post anything, he starts hammering us about why we bring anything up about politics. I actually blocked him today. Yeah. No, my would be how well do you take care of your car?
That's a great question. Now, I got one, and it was kind of given to me, but I think it's applicable to this episode. Are you a UConn fan?
Oh, you beat me to it. I was about to say. I was about to ask that. You stole mine.
Sorry.
You stole mine.
Oh no!
Are you a UConn fan? But hey, there's listen.
We share it. We can share it.
Are you an FSU fan? You know, do you cheer for the Gators? There's a lot of variation.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of things that I would use to rule people out, right? So
yeah.
So certainly. But this week it would be: are you a UConn fan? I think that's a good one.
Think about that. If you were dating now, like there couldn't. I mean, you'd have to answer every question right. Like every question. There's if you answer one of my 10 questions even slightly incorrectly, it's not going to work.
10 questions. I need to see these 10 questions. One day I need you to send me these 10 questions on a text.
Okay, let's do that. Let's come up with them.
Okay. All right.
I got one.
Talk to me, Goose.
I got another one. What? There it is again. What is a red flag that you were in a bad restaurant?
Ooh. Well, you know,
I got
the proverbial roach or rodent, you know, walking across the floor of the restaurant. That's never good. That's never a good sign.
You ever seen a rat in a restaurant, like physically?
I have. I'm not going to mention the restaurant, but I have. Yes.
Are they still in business?
No, they're not. They're not in business anymore.
All right, good.
Well, then you can say the name. They're not in business anymore.
I think one of the red flags was there was an establishment, and they have multiple of these establishments, right? So I don't want to give away their name too. And I happened to catch the paper, and they were shut down because we drove by, and we're like, oh, why are they shut down? And when it got to the point in there when it said unidentified feces, I was like, yeah, I'm out.
You're out. You're out for that.
I will never go. I mean, think about this. The health department comes in there.
They know what all the feces looks like.
Of course they do. But when you get to unidentified, I swear that was
that they've never seen before.
What? Like what just came in there, and that they can't? I'm out. And shortly after that branch got shut down.
I had two. I had one that brought up. It was kind of the rat thing. It's a different story that we were in Africa, and we were sitting outside in this little kind of patio eating some dinner, and across a rafter ran a rat the size of a possum.
Oof.
It could have eaten an arm. Like legitimately, I was like, oh my God. But then I was like, I mean, we're in Africa. Like, what do you expect? Like, just eat. It's fine. Just eat and we'll get on our merry way. So I was going to answer legitimately. My question was going to be, was the red flag that you're in a bad restaurant, that you're sitting with a date that's a UConn fan? I mean, it's two birds with one stone. So you can get out of the restaurant and you can get out of the date.
Yeah, and leave them with the bill. Yeah, that's just
there. You go.
Listen. UConn. You know, I am softened as the call continues, as our conversation continues. You know, I'm softening on the toast suspension. They do have a hell of a team, so I want to give props to.
They're just hot. They're
the
just
fact
hot.
that they have
we got a better
record.
Team.
Yeah.
They're
no. That's the last question, and you cannot soften on that.
Are we on question 4?
If anything, it needs to be harder, please.
Is this question 4 or question 5?
This is. I don't know. This is 5. All right, so we have 2 more. What do you got?
All right. Have you ever had a dream that actually came true? What happened?
Oh, that's a softball for me, because on February 22nd, the day of my birthday, and I actually posted it on Twitter for those of you that follow me on Twitter. On the 22nd of February, a friend of mine, Chris Caputo, who's the former assistant under Larinaga, who's now the coach at George Washington, sends me a text along the lines of "Happy birthday, old man," because I was turning 50, and I replied, "Thank you. My birthday wish is for the Canes to make the Final Four and to see them cut down the nets by winning one of the regionals," and that obviously came through came to be true last week. So that was it was pretty cool feeling.
Did you get to snip?
No. I that's for the actual players on the court and the coaches. But I was right below the basket taking photos, and my boys were soaking it all in. What was really funny is that we go into the locker room after the game, and my sons, who have been coached, they've been part of this Jim Larrañaga camp that he runs for kids during the summer, where the players on the team coach the kids, right? So my sons have gotten to know all the players on our basketball team, and and they've been in the locker room several times. They were in the locker room after the win. After we cut down the nets, everybody went into the locker room, and Coach Larrañaga is recognizing the key administrators in the room for the support for the administration. And then after he mentions me, he calls my two boys to the front of the room, and my youngest son, starts dancing in front of the team, and the team loved every minute of it. That's a memory that I will, I will for the rest of my life, I will treasure that memory.
Well, that's one nice dream that came true. And I just want you to know, Scoop, as soon as you said snip, my heart rate started racing.
I know. Thanks. I was gonna circle back to that.
No, you're not going to circle back. So I sleep so sound, and everybody dreams. Everybody does, but I don't recall mine. I'm that much of a sound sleeper. So, but I will say, I will flip it on the other side to my wife had a dream one time, and we were eating, and I always remember this because I was eating a jalapeno popper with like strawberry cream cheese or strawberry jam, and that's phenomenal. If you've never had it with the strawberry jam, jalapeno poppers are legit. I'm eating it. I'm just enjoying life. And she said, I had a dream that I was pregnant. I was like, oh. So I took a pregnancy test, and I'm pregnant. Okay. A, that's pretty prophetic. B, that's pretty spot on. And yes, my daughter Natalia did come from that exchange. And C, find a better way to tell me that you're pregnant.
Tally loves poppers.
Yeah, all 6 foot of her now. It's just amazing. Yeah, all 6 foot of my daughter. I can't believe she's that tall. So
she's congratulations, the golfer, right?
No, Scoop's got the golfer
player. I have the golfer.
Scoop's got the golfer. Right. And congratulations to my daughter, because at 13 years of age, she just made what was known as the Red Hat Games, which is the equivalency of being an All-American at her age. So good job. So she's going to be. She got nominated as one of the best in the country. That's how it says. You're nominated because you're one of the best in the country. So she's probably going to go to Texas, right where Rudy is, at the end of this year. So just mark it up. So let's go.
Let's go. Was that all right?
6.
Now,
we know what 6 is.
Number 6. We know the 6th question. It's a bonus question. It's a bonus Rudy question. So, as it might have to be consensus. I don't know. We'll see. So, how long is this suspension? I mean, to be quite honest with you, this has been a joy. This has been totally non-uncomfortable. This has been, really nice. It's really nice. There's no contention. It's just happy people talking about happy things. So certainly this week. Next week, we can play it to where if Connecticut wins, no chance he can come on the show. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want to hear about it. Bad Miami wins, no chance he can come on the show.
Because he
doubted us. And he's going to be miserable. And cry the whole time.
Either way, I think it's got to, this is a 2-week suspension either way, right? I agree with where you're headed with this, because, regardless of how the weekend plays out, you have to either, if his team is successful, then he will be unbearable. I mean, I remember, I'm still sort of, I close my eyes and Toast's voice after the Middle Tennessee loss sort of is ringing in my ears, and that's I can't deal with that next week, guys. I really can't. If we're successful, you got to make it a celebration of Canes basketball.
Yes.
So you got to have someone, whether it's Jack McClinton or someone else. You got to invite a Canes
Jackson
basketball star to sort of be part of it. So either way. Toast, I love you. I look forward to seeing you at some point soon when you're I'm sure he'll come around. Come college football playoff time, he'll be there saying that he knew it all along, etc. So I look
he never doubted it.
I look forward to hugging you.
He believed it all the time.
But back then, nothing but love for you. But no, it's got to be a 2-week suspension followed by a probation period. So you got to earn his way back.
Thank you.
Oh, see, that's the cherry on top.
So,
I like
exactly. I'm in consensus, but I want to add a stipulation. All right.
Oh boy.
Miami wins, it's 2 weeks. That's fine. Because if Miami wins, it's a bad luck thing if we bring him on, because he wasn't on. We won, so he contributed to us winning unknowingly. So we got to continue that trend. But if Connecticut wins against Miami and then wins it all, he's going to be unbearable for the following week. So I think we need a cool-off period. So I'm willing to put it up to a 3-week suspension, depending what UConn does in the finals. Now, if UConn loses in the finals, I say we bring him immediately on so we can make fun of him. But
that's decent. But he would have beaten Miami, so I don't know. I'm with Rudy. It's got to be at least 2 weeks. But if that's the case, you need to read. You have to have these spots. I can't do these spots every week like this.
All right, I could do these spots. You could do these spots.
Ridiculous. I can't even read that fast.
Yeah. I'm good.
I told you I got just above 400 on that SAT portion.
Well, could you at least read my book, my little kid's book? Petey the Pilot.
Yeah, I read it.
All right, good.
I read it.
Yeah.
I had to put my readers on, but I read it.
And you didn't listen to a couple episodes. I wrote a children's book called Petey the Pilot. It's Top Gun mixed with Magic School Bus. It's perfect for little kids. You actually learn some geography in it. My kids too. They're like, Dad, I know where Easter Island is. I'm like, where is it, buddy? He goes, it's off the coast of Chile. I'm like, well, your SAT just went from a 402 to a 403. I'm doing my job.
You are doing your job.
Yeah, I'm doing my job.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Rudy, man, thank you so much for accepting the invite. And, I mean, we've done an hour and 15 minutes. I'm sure you have much better things to do, like walk around and watch shoot-arounds and say hi to more important people than hanging out with us. Maybe if we win it all, maybe I'll ask. Yeah, I know McClinton. It's I don't know. I mean, maybe the Larinaga era can hang out with the OBB for a little bit. Well, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll see.
Listen, Coach L is the man, and maybe we, if we win it all, I'll come back to introduce Jack McClinton. I won't. We'll let him co-host, but I will have to be part of the introduction.
That sounds good to me. But we do have to name this before we go. And Rudy, I think it might be on you.
Didn't we settle that? It's roast toast.
Roast toast. Hashtag roast toast.
Yes.
2 weeks minimum.
Roast toast. Roast toast. I love it. I'm easy.
All right, brothers. Orange Bull boys. It's been a pleasure.
Always. Thank you, sir.
All right.
And as always,
hey, you want to do toast? You want to do toast part?
Just say, as always, go Canes.
As always,
you look like him the most, so you might as well say his part.
As always, go Canes.
Go! Bang.
That's another episode in the books. The Orange Bowl Boys are brought to you by Ed Morse Automotive Group. Visit edmorse.com.